Brandon Pedersen back again to talk about Investorfuse, some more quick tips. Last video, we talked about groups. And one of the things we were talking about is how you can make multiple groups, right? Well, we also discussed that within the multiple groups, you want to move leads from group to group depending on their reason. We talked about multifamily and land and Spanish speaking and underwriting and all these different things. Well, the way to do that is to use the push to function. Now, there's another way to do it, and it's very manual, and it does one of the things that we discussed goes against what IF3 is. And it's the third thing we talked about, right? The third thing was reducing our errors, making us more efficient, right? We love the accessibility of our data and how it allowed us to focus, but let's talk about the errors. And push to reduces them by simplifying the process. Typically, when you want to assign another agent or another rep a lead, if you're a lead manager trying to assign another rep, if you're a acquisition rep trying to assign to another one, like Spanish leads, you want to give it to the Spanish-speaking guy in the office. A lot of times there's issues, and I've trained on it. See, my office, we have acquisition closers, and we have follow-up specialists, and we also have Spanish-speaking people. And sometimes, especially with Spanish-speaking, you got the one guy who's got the lead on the phone, wants to transfer it over, says a guy's going to call you back, and he goes to assign it over, but he forgets to release the opportunity. So the opportunity never actually goes into the other guy's group. He only assigns the action. And that poses a problem. If the guy's looking in his opportunity bucket, he doesn't see this lead. And the opposite happens as well. Sometimes they assign the opportunity to the rep, but they never actually assign the action item to the rep. And we know how that works in IF3. Then the person won't see it in their action. It won't pop into their dialer queue. None of that stuff, if you have the dialer and everything set up, it won't work. A third thing they make errors on is actually picking the day and time of follow-up. That could mess it up right there. They assign it to a future date. The guy doesn't see it, doesn't call the lead in time. All these things cause problems, and that's only the surface of it. And now I train my team every day on our processes and our system and using IF3. It's part of our morning meeting. We do it weekly. And here's the thing. They still make errors. They still make mistakes. And running a team, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. No matter how much you train them, sometimes they just do. And that's okay. Why? Because your team isn't supposed to worry about this stuff. That's your job. Your team is supposed to focus on closing deals, talking to leads and opportunities, making money, conversions. They're not worried about, oh, did I do the opportunity assignee? Did I do the action assignee? Did I sign it the right day? Did I give it to the right group? They don't need to worry about that, and they shouldn't. That's not their job. Let them focus on their one thing that they're going to be great at, that you hired them to do. So that's where push to comes in. See, push to allows you to set rules of what that is, and you can name it. Like, we'll call it the Spanish push to function. And what does that do? It allows whoever selects that from the push to drop down, it allows them to immediately assign it to the Spanish group. And what does that do? It picks who it assigns it to within that group, or round robins it, right? Or just drops it in the group without assigning it. It allows them to pick a day that it would be due, right? The automatic follow-up. Is it immediately? Is it tomorrow? Is it a week? You get to pick all these rules, and then you can leave a note in there too. Any automatic note to let the new rep see why this lead is being pushed to them. So you could do a lot of things within the push to, none of which need to be worried about by your rep. Same thing when it comes to pushing underwriting deals. Like you want something underwritten, you could assign specific rules to it. And your rep doesn't need to try to automatically assign it to the guy who does underwriting. He could just move it to the group and allow your flow, right? Your processes, when you set it up, to do the rest of the work. Push to goes a lot deeper, especially when you get into primary assignee, primary owner, and secondary owner. There's a lot of things that you could do with it. But one thing, when I'm helping people out with Investorfuse, the one thing I always tell them is to make sure you set up push to be able to push leads from group to group. So that way it becomes easier for your team and they can focus on their one thing. If you don't think you need it, let me just say this to you. If you got lead managers, you need it. If you have follow-up specialists, you need it. If you're going after more than just single family homes, you need it. And if you're not using it, you're holding your team back. So get in there, set it up, and if you need help, reach out to me and I'm more than happy to help you. Drop a comment, shoot back an email, let me know. because push to has definitely made our company more efficient in our processes, and it's reduced a shit ton of errors. All right, guys, lock and load. I'll see you on the next one.